Oh, yo, it worked. All right. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Excellent.
How's it
Very
going,
tired.
everybody?
How's it going,
It's-
everybody?
we got it, dude. The phrase
Yeah, did it,
itself,
chicken.
dude. All right. Well, this is Honor Bound episode 8. I appreciate everybody who stopped by. Thank you to the guests, Mr. Raawhit, Freeze, and Karma / Danny, for showing up and talking about something that's actually become really popular lately. I'm very, very excited to talk about it as a person who is trying to get into the competitive community, who's trying to improve as a competitive player. I am very excited to talk about this. So let's get started. If you guys want to know the topics, I'll just do the command here. Those will be the topics. You can do the command later if it goes away and you want to be reminded. So we will first start with getting involved in the competitive community. Karma, I will come to you first.
I don't know. I'm fine with being called Danny. It's more natural.
Okay. So there's a lot of people who don't necessarily want to get involved in the competitive community because they like playing For Honor at a casual level. There's a lot of people like myself who loves the game at a competitive level, and is trying to get involved with it. So how does somebody who is kind of in the middle between those two, who are really into the competitive community, those who are more casual, like what are good ways for people to get involved in the comp community?
First off, you have to really define like what casual play means, because when you look at matchmaking, if you're solo queuing, it's like a very non-structured experience and usually very frustrating. I feel like the first step from going to a higher level than that is just having a 4-stack with matchmaking. So if you don't really know who I am, my uplay used to be Prime Danny 417, then it used to be Prime Diversion. I was a matchmaking player on For Honor PC for like 2 years, and in like 2018 I played like literally every single day with a 4-stack of friends. And it was like a really weird comp too with Centurion, and we just played every single day, super seriously, but within matchmaking, and got better and better, to the point we would start fighting like competitive and tourney players playing in matchmaking, and they would start dodging us sometimes because it would be very frustrating for them. So the first kind of step for getting into higher level play, if you don't want to like do tourneys and stuff at that point, is really just having a structured organization on your team in matchmaking. Um, yeah,
Okay.
it's just playing with friends, which is a really fun thing to do, is like a very easy first step, because then you understand more like team play elements in For Honor.
Gotcha. Yeah, so still being able to use matchmaking as a way to improve how you play, but just having maybe a competitive mindset or playing with a structured team so you can practice like ganking, or you can practice good rotations, or just communication in general. Would you say that's fair? Okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Ra, I'll go to you next, because when you play, I very often see you in a 4-stack with like Thronu and Sai or Toasty, Mamba, stuff like that. So is this something that you can relate to as well? As like, even though you're playing matchmaking, that it's still a good way that you can become competitive and increase your skill set just with a 4-stack of people?
I feel like playing with the same people over and over again creates that, I guess, synergy, which is really good for comp play, in my opinion. Like if I were to just solo queue or any of that jazz, I feel like I would hate it.
Yeah.
You will. You would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Been there.
For the most part, when I stream, I usually do solo queue 4s, and it is terrible. I am been doing scrims a lot more.
I can imagine.
But yeah, like anytime I get a friend or a invitation from like Thrillno or for you, and you guys are 4-stack, I'm like, yes, 4 stacks. It is always a much better experience for sure. Freeze, do you tend to solo queue when you play?
Oh, very rarely now.
Very rarely now.
But
Yeah,
I
he's
can.
a filthy
I
4-stack.
I tried to get like a 4-stack going. But like, if you have one guy missing and all of a sudden you have just a 3-stack, and then one random comes in and the game tries to balance out the skill level by giving you some brain dead
Low
idiot,
rep.
then yeah, it's just the overall experience gets spoiled. So yeah, I understand why people just run with 4 people.
Yeah,
you should.
I get flamed a lot for playing with three of the same people. I can't play with my friends ever if I queue into matchmaking. It kind of sucks.
Matchmaking is just a very frustrating experience in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as a quick aside, I feel like for the definition of competitive play, it's not necessarily like you're playing in tournaments. Competitive is like the mindset where you're playing to win.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, for sure. You can play in tournaments, but mindset is the biggest thing that's going to help you improve. Like there are certain times with me where my mindset is terrible, and I find it holding myself back when I'm playing. And I've noticed that in other people too, where something's wrong with the mindset. Either they don't think that they made a mistake, or like whatever it is. Mindset is the most important part to being a competitive player. Like if you look at Clutch or Setmix or something like that, their mindset is usually pretty solid. I mean, Setmix will get tilted sometimes. He'll complain about stuff, but when it comes to tournament day, when you watch him play tournaments and streams, their mindset is usually all pretty steady across the board. Like there's not too many instances where I'll see Setmix get too like his mindset would be hindering him from playing better.
It's like a
Still
domino effect.
happens at every level. Yeah, it's
Right.
a domino effect for that team. The most important ability is to recover from that and keep going.
I feel like some people. No, go ahead.
Okay, I think this game does it like no other. Like For Honor really brings it out in people, like getting angry at the game. I've played for a long time. You know, guys, I'm old, and I've never played a game that gets me this mad. But I don't know. It's just this game, and yeah, recovering from that is really something.
I was gonna say I feel like some people play better when they're tilted too. So I mean, I've seen it. It's definitely interesting to see.
Another like really really critical part of an improvement mindset is I see a lot of people who aren't in the correct mindset where like they'll get outplayed, maybe sometimes unintentionally by their opponent, and it'll frustrate them. So like I'll hear people say like, "Why did he parry that?" Or why did he dodge that and stuff like that? And
I do that.
or he did that by accident.
Like just an hour ago, I said.
It could be true, yeah. Why did he parry that? He did that by accident, etc. And like at the end of the day, when something happens where you lost in a fight, you have to sit down and say like, I did something wrong. They played how they had to win that fight, and like I need to think about what I should have done differently. Like if they parried that attack, like hey, you should have fainted it. Like in every situation where that happens, they should have fainted it.
Yeah,
you should have fainted it.
Yeah, and that's something I recently experienced. I was doing a scrim with you, Danny, not that long ago, and you told me you made a comment. It's like, I hear you say you parried that a lot. When you don't, stop it. Is basically was the gist of it. And I was upset for a minute, and then I thought about it. I'm like, Danny's
just a bad mentality.
Danny's not wrong. Yeah, and that's what I was saying earlier. It's like I have a mentality issue that holds me back in a couple things, and that is definitely one of them, where I feel like I parry it, or I feel like if I have the ghost parry animation or something, that I actually did parry it, and usually that just means either you're against a wall,
parried late,
or I parried late, and that's in most situations that's on me, even though it's frustrating and sometimes it's not always on you. You still take it that it is on you so you can improve. Like there are tons of things in this game that happen that are annoying. Like I was playing in matchmaking against Raawhit like a month ago, and I parried his option select zone on JJ on Sank Bridge, and I was playing Kensei, so I immediately went into a top heavy or top light, and he parried it because I had a ghost parry animation and I died, and I was very upset. But I probably parried late, or I was right next to a wall or something, and I think Ra even said should have positioned better or something like that.
Yeah, should have played around it.
Yeah. But even when stuff like that happens, it seems like the competitive mindset is, okay, this happened, how can I fix it? How can I make it not happen again? Okay, Freeze, I'll come to you as somebody who is maybe not necessarily a tournament player, but you've been playing in scrims lately, but you are a very popular and very good content creator. So you have a lot of people in your comments section, a lot of people that you've done topics on videos because of the comment section, the people who have talked to you before. From what you've experienced, what is the thing that you hear the most that prevent people from being part of the competitive community? Like what stops them?
One thing I keep hearing is like they don't know when tournaments. Like even if they don't want to be involved or just watch tournaments, they don't know when it is. But I think it's largely on their own fault, to be honest. There are so many. Like even Ubisoft tries to get all these states out there, the segment and the Warriors. Then Mistress tweets all the tournaments like once a week, twice a week. She retweets all that stuff, and I think it's part on them not really searching for it, because the only real thing that's left is putting it in game. Like get the pop up on the right side. These 3 whatever segments they have there. That's the only thing left to do there. But yeah, I think some want to, but not really in the end. Like the last step, they're just too lazy for that. But I don't know if I can fault them there.
Okay.
And the other thing is, I think we see it on the server now as well. Some people are just shy. They just don't want to hop in.
Server.
They see big names like I sometimes get DMs on Discord, and then they're surprised when I respond. They just don't expect it. They just they're shy.
I mean, that's how I was when I first started playing scrims. I was super duper hesitant on joining when I saw like a player like Setmix or a player like Scorebrand in them. I don't know. I was just afraid of getting yelled at or like messing up. I just didn't want to mess up playing in those scrims.
Yeah, we need to take them by the hand a little, I think.
Okay, and kind of lead them on. Is that? Do you think that's a? You said that it was laziness. Do you attribute all of it to laziness, or is it a mixture of just of laziness, being shy, or lack of resources that they have access to?
I mean, the lack of resources. We've talked about that. For years now. Because I mean, I'm one of the few that actually makes these extra resources. Crack does it. Alanakin did it, and when you do it, like when you make these long videos, these guides, you notice how much time it takes to make them. Because I mean, just recording stuff might be quick, but then editing or even thinking about it, making a script to make it cohesive, to make everyone understand it, you'll notice how much time that takes. And then in the end, you get barely any views. And then you see some meme compilation, someone slapped together within like half an hour, and that gets like 5 times your views. I can understand that people are a little discouraged to keep making them. And yeah, I think that contributes a little. I think it's a little bit of the mindset of our community. Just look at the fucking main sub. It's just memes. What gets upvoted? Memes.
Yeah.
And it's, I don't know, proper information doesn't get upvotes. I think it's part of the mindset there. But I'm sure there are a lot of people in the community still who want to learn, looking for stuff. Yeah, it's just not that easy to get that all the guides and all that stuff out there. I do hate memes, Jiggling.
And that, what you were talking about with the creating the videos and the content and everything. This is actually something Crack said a few podcasts ago when we were talking about the competitive subreddit. That sometimes it's not worth making a guide on something because of how long it'll take, versus like how much traction it'll get. Like the work that goes into it is not necessarily equal to the reward, if you will, which is people using it, people watching it, and over like the meme stuff that you were talking about, or like the deflect montages, like and stuff like that. There tends to be what is consumed content wise over guides how to play a hero or something like that. I am glad that despite that, like Crack has gone on and he's doing, like, he's dispelling myths and stuff from the competitive community. He's done commentary and stuff like that. But I understand that the perspective of it is a lot of work, and more than I think most people know off the bat. So it's not always the thing you want to do or is necessary, because like are people actually going to use it? The tier list is a good example of that. Setmix had a tier list and he stopped doing it because people were using the tier list to justify their arguments that were bad, or they were just using it in the wrong way. And he just stopped doing it because like the tier list isn't actually helping anybody. It's kind of it's hurting people that more than helping them. So he was done. Like I understand that perspective. That makes sense to me. Do you or Danny, have you heard anything similar like with not wanting to get into the competitive community because people don't necessarily know, or they're just too shy? Like, what are some of the things you've heard that were preventing people from getting into the comp scene?
Shyness is a huge part. People have difficulty, like, I think, starting teams because they don't really understand how easy it is to just get your friends and play, and that's already like viable enough. I think most of what's been said is pretty much like a summation of it. Like, the resources for the most part are there, you just have to look for them.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you have to look for you have to want to look for them too, because if you want to learn, you'll find it, I feel.
Like, my wish was that resources like our future topic and things that have already existed were like advertised more openly in places like the r for honor subreddit or like the for honor Discord that are very active. Like, in that sense, people would stumble on them, but as it is, people have to kind of look for it.
Yeah.
Have you ever posted a guide or something on the normal sub and looked at the upvotes you get?
It's like you get nothing,
Yeah.
and then you'll get
weird. You
people
get
just whining in your comments.
Yeah.
It's not even that. You do get some views, and it's also positive feedback usually, but the overall upvotes you get are just really low. I think people just skim over it. Just don't. Oh no, guys, no.
There's a lot of words.
Like, look at
people
5
won't
memes
it.
in the. I mean, it's not easy to digest. You
That's
need to pay attention. You need to
that's a huge
maybe
point.
watch something a couple of times.
Yeah.
That's
go ahead.
something I've had on my mind. Sorry to like kind of interrupt, but I have this on my mind all the time, and I forget to mention it. It's like, yeah, the digestibility of stuff is that people don't really want to sit down and watch a ton of videos. People don't want to read the information hub and skim through Google Doc and Google Doc, even though they're really good resources and they exist. It's just like super time consuming and not intuitive versus like in-game tutorials or our future topic.
I can give an example real quick. When I made the minion lane guide a while ago, all the testing before was basically done by Spam. And I had like a huge list of numbers. And I already tried to only give like the bare minimum. That wasn't hard to digest. But I think the second you give out numbers, people immediately, no,
They're turned
no.
off by it.
Numbers high.
But it was relevant in that very moment. So yeah, I don't know. Because I can't think of any way to make it easier for them. Like, I can't present it in any other way.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
The numbers are significant to what you're trying to showcase.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense. Ra, you were about to say something.
Was I? Oh, I mean, I'll be honest. The numbers usually turn me off. Like, I don't know anything for any of the recovery numbers or, how fast or slow heavies are.
I mean, you don't need to have like all technical information to have like game knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you wouldn't necessarily seek out a video that would use numbers to basically show what they're doing.
If I wanted to, I would go do it, and I don't want to.
Yeah.
I can't force that on myself, or you can't force it on somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't think that's necessarily a problem, because everybody's gonna have their different ways of consuming content. Like, when I'm in school, and I am terrible at sitting down and listening to a lecture. I have books to read, to do quizzes and stuff. I cannot just sit down and read a chapter of a book. It is very difficult for me to do that. I need to like be hands-on. I need to be out there doing reading about these concepts and then going and doing them. And I feel like that's the same
You need
with
a picture book.
Yeah, kind of. Like, how do I do narrative therapy? Show me a session where narrative therapy is happening. Okay, now I'll go do it. That works for me. And I feel like the same thing is like with the videos people consume. They have their preferences and how they're going to be able to tolerate showing stuff. But I think that just goes back to mindset, because you can not like the numbers, but then you can be like Rod and say, yeah, I don't know these numbers. It doesn't really interest me, but I have an understanding of what the recoveries means, and I have the proper competitive mindset despite not knowing the numbers. Like, I don't think you have to have both. I think you can be selective with how you consume stuff, but you can still have the proper mindset to learn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but he brought something up, because a lot of players are still in high school or like university, whatever, and they learn the whole day, but they have to pay attention. And then they come home and they watch a video that gives them more numbers, more info, stuff they need to learn. I mean, I can understand that they just rather look at deflect montage, like you mentioned. I
Yes.
understand that.
They want to come home and laugh and have fun.
Yeah. But at the same time, they're probably complaining in game about stuff they shouldn't complain about.
Yeah. And Denko just said something in chat. They would still need to watch some streams to actually know how to play the character. That's very true, because the in-game resources, which we've touched on before, and how to play the characters are just also screwed up. That you're not going to be able to just sit down, play For Honor, go through the trials and everything like that, and learn how to play your character well. You have.
Can you imagine? Sorry.
I was just saying, you have to go outside of the game to figure out how to play your character correctly.
Can you imagine how the perception of mechanics like option select zones would change if it was like legitimized by like
Yeah.
the in-game trials? Like if it was like an actual segment that was like, you can parry with zone input and it beats feint GB and commit. Like this bot is gonna do it a couple times. You need to feint and then parry it.
Mm-hmm.
Like if that was just something every new player had to see in the trials, like the required ones when they start the game, it would be like, whew.
Yeah.
Like it's not. You know, I hear so many people say like, "Oh, zone option selects are a bug. It's cheating."
Right.
Like that kind of stuff. If it was legitimized by the in-game resources, you'd see a lot more people doing it, a lot more people understanding how to play against it, and a lot less complaining about it.
Now that you bring it up, you think it was intended behavior? That is zone parries?
Mm.
I mean, I don't care whether or
Initially,
not
did
it's
they-
intended. I don't care whether or not it's intended. It's a good mechanic as it is.
Yeah, I don't think
I'm
it was
just
intended.
interested because a lot of mechanics in games just were introduced by accident and then kept, like
Yeah.
strafe jumping, for example, in Quake. It was
Mhm.
just all of a sudden it came and it stayed for good.
Well, so like
yeah,
Yeah.
the actual argument should be like, well, just because zone option selects might not be intended doesn't mean they're a bad thing. Like they're a really good
no,
mechanic.
not at all,
Yeah.
not at
No,
all. I'm
so-
just curious if they intended
Yeah.
it to be like that.
I don't
Yeah,
think
a
it
lot
was
of
intended
things
at all.
in For Honor, I don't
Me
think
neither,
were
me neither.
intended. Like
Just-
I doubt that they
just
sat down
curious,
and thought like the heavy stun on heavies is gonna set up teammate batches.
Yeah.
I don't think that's why they ever said anything.
Yeah,
like that.
they-
Hey, look, it's a really cool mechanic that works in a 4v4 environment.
Yeah, they were surprised when so many people were able to parry these like light attacks that were like 600 and 500 milliseconds. Like I remember either somebody saying that or listening to that somewhere. Like they were not expecting people to be able to consistently parry that much. So they had an idea of how the game was going to go, and then people got a hold of it, and it just completely shattered, I think, what they were intending.
That's super typical for games like this. Like the community figures out an entirely different way to play the game,
Yeah.
or like it takes it to another level than the
Yeah,
developers.
and it's
then the
not-
developers have to seek resources and information from the players on like what changes they need to make.
Right, and it's not a bad thing at all. It just requires good communication between the development team and the competitive players or their player base, and everything like that. Which is why I'm always of the opinion that oops, sorry guys, that it should be the balancing should be around the competitive community of whatever game that you're playing.
At the end of the day, if balance is around the competitive community, it just creates an environment. It's like it's better for everybody.
Yeah.
Like competitive players want the game to be fun at a competitive level, and if the game is fun at a competitive level, then the game translates down to something that's more fun.
I think that's one of the misconceptions, actually,
Yeah, that's a huge misconception.
that competitive players don't want to have fun, because
Mhm.
they do.
Yes.
You guys don't enjoy certain playstyles, just do it.
Nobody
Doesn't mean
enjoy-
that is the most fun for you in that moment. It's just something that needs to be fixed.
Yeah, nobody likes
Running
old
around the
shaman
cauldron
by
and shit like that.
gank.
It's
Nobody
just-
likes infinite stalling. Nobody likes how reactable a lot of offenses.
Yeah.
Nobody
Fair
likes
fest.
Big Boss.
Nobody likes Big Boss. Yeah.
Yeah.
Big Boss
Awesome.
mirrors are great. Not really great at all. Okay, so this kind of does tie into the misconceptions part, but before we move to that, there was something that I wanted to touch on that's still on this. Which is there a problem with the label of being a competitive player or being a part of the competitive community?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You're
I think there's
toxic
just like a
asshole.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, people just conflate some particular communities with like all competitive players or the competitive mindset. That's just so silly and false. But yeah, I think that's like a very typical misconception is that people hear competitive and they think like boring, stare fest, not enjoyable, etc. But when you look at like how actual 4v4 competitive is right now, it's very hectic and I mean, obviously people play it because they think it's good.
Yeah.
Fun.
It's fun to watch.
It is.
Yeah, because there's a lot that goes into it that are kind of like behind the scenes that people won't like. I don't think the average For Honor player would know. Like, I don't think the average For Honor player is going to know about rotations. I don't think the average player is going to know necessarily about certain ganks, something like
Well, they're not gonna know for like rotation. People aren't gonna know maybe the word rotations, and they're not gonna know how to do it well. But like when people are playing the game, they're playing the same video game. They're rotating. They just don't realize that like that's what that mechanic is called, and that's what they're doing. And when they see their teammates are outnumbered and they move to them, they don't understand that like, hey, that's actually like a rotation right there. Like you're rotating to equalize numbers in a fight.
that. Okay. Yeah. Ra, can you were started to say something about the competitive community, the problem with the label. Like you started to say like competitive community people are jerks.
Yeah, I'm like before I started playing, I used to fucking hate comp play and comp players and all that. I always thought they were assholes. But once I started to, play more and more, even if for glory, like once I started to play more and more, I've met maybe the nicest people that I've ever met this entire year or last year, sorry. The whole 2019.
Oh, sorry, not this year.
No.
Not me.
That was last year.
Right.
Was it? Oh yeah, it's 2020.
Was it?
Oh yeah, it's 2020. Woo! 2020. Happy New Year's. Woo!
Yeah, you're about 19 days late. That's okay.
Yep. It's okay.
But yeah, and that makes sense. That's something that I hear quite a bit too. Is the competitive community, the competitive players. They're toxic. They play the game very boring. They play in a dumb way. I want to dodge these people because I know they're competitive and I want to play with my friends.
man.
So we're just gonna
I
dodge,
used to
like
dodge.
stuff like that.
I think something in particular is like people play against some of the higher level competitive players like Rave or myself or Raawhit or whatever that have like really good reactions. Like they'll run at them in matchmaking and they'll be like, damn, you turtle. Like you're reacting to my offense.
Right.
It's like we don't want it to be reactable, but we also want to win. And as it is, like we're gonna play the way that wins.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's why I push for that kind of change.
Yeah, it's like we've commented on how the state of the game is. We don't want, but we just need. This is what we have, so we play to as optimal as we can until something changes. Okay. Was there anything else anybody wanted to add to this before we?
I'll add something to the
Okay.
competitive players being jerks, because I mean I don't play with them. I just play matchmaking or in scrims. I do play with them, but every single time I needed some info, asked something when I contacted anyone. Everyone I talked to, everyone has been really nice. Like there was no exception. Everyone was willing to help. Everyone shared info. There was never been anything like yeah, nothing negative really. Yeah, just wanted to.
That's
say
because
that,
you're on our
yes.
good side, Freeze.
I guess I
Yeah.
am. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I have a weird standing within the community, I guess. So
You're hated
You're
by
kind
the
of
casual.
highly.
Yeah.
Well, I don't feel like he's hated by casuals. I think a lot of people who are casual regard Freeze highly.
Hated
Like,
by
he's
the
a technical
Redditors.
guy.
I-
Hated by somebody.
I am actually curious if you have gotten flack for playing with with competitive people or playing in scrims
No.
from
no,
anything.
no, nothing. That would be really weird, to be honest. I'd consider that. I don't know, really
You're
backwards
working with
thinking.
Enemy.
Yeah.
We want proper information from him, but he shouldn't be playing with the top guys that are able to give him that. Like,
Well,
that would be really weird.
I wouldn't put that beyond the community though, because you will see people complain about them not being able to push any buttons. But then when somebody like Warden or Hitokiri comes out and they're fighting them and they have unreactable offense, they complain about the unreactable offense.
Mhm.
Like I've seen people in matchmaking say, "Wow, you turtle, you're parrying everything I do." And then I have a
Spammer.
Warden or a Hitokiri or somebody on my team that has unreactable offense. Like, wow, this character's overpowered. I can't react to anything he's doing. Like you
I
can't
mean,
have
in
it
some
both ways.
cases, it's like the understandable complaint would be like the disparity in offense versus those characters and other characters. Like if you have good offense and if you don't, but like I think again, it's just like an overall bad mentality. I hate losing, etc. And then people complain about everything that happens to them.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So if we're good to go there, then let's move on to the For Honor trials. Um, Danny, since this is your baby, if you will, or at least that's what the impression that I got was. This was your idea. This is something you've been wanting to do for a while. Would you
Yeah.
please explain what For Honor trials is?
Alrighty. So I think like 2 weeks ago, maybe slightly over, I really sat down. I was like, you know what? It's kind of at like a stagnant time right now, in between like the big years. I feel like it's a really good time for this. I've had this idea for a while of how we really approach like the mass poor education of a lot of For Honor players, people that don't want to consume stuff like the information hub and they don't want to watch videos, but they like to play the game. And we did have a server that was like For Honor Trials before, which was Warrior Trials. And Warrior Trials is a scrim server. That's what For Honor Trials is. You join, you set your platform, and you can apply ping roles for 4v4, 2v2, and 1v1 scrims and various other things. And it's just like a pug server that has now the difference with For Honor Trials is we have a coach on each team, who is supposed to have information on like rotations and ganks and stuff. So instead of having to digest stuff like I said from the information hub, like numbers and watching videos, you'll be in the game. You'll be playing with like the competitive rule set, single pick, the good maps. We're not going to get frustrated with like insta kill spikes, you know, without gear perks, etc. And you'll be given that information in the heat of a moment, like, hey, we're gonna gank this guy here. This is what you need to do. And then it's very satisfying to do that and execute it as a new player. I must imagine, because I remember when I was getting better and playing matchmaking with people that had knowledge of ganks and I executed ganks, I was like, wow, this is so cool. So to kind of reiterate, the For Honor Trials server is a scrim pug server with top players and coaches for every single platform that the game is on, with pugs going every single day. Uh, the admin staff is like various people from across the community. A lot of competitive For Honor mods, Freeze is an admin, etc. It's just like
For
a
whatever
place to
reason.
play like a better version of the game. Like it encourages tournament participation, but we're not really sitting down with the notion that like you have to get good and start playing tournaments. Because what I'm more so wanting to tackle is just like the overall rampant misinformation and like lack of education in the game. Like the skill disparity in For Honor between like an average player and somebody that's actually like an active part of the higher level community is huge, because again, like the in-game resources are kind of poor. And if you just sit down and play matchmaking and you're running into other randoms and you yourself are on a random team, like it's not really a good environment to get better.
Yeah.
I'd
Okay.
also like to point out what Jeebus said. The server doesn't have or share that bad rep that For Glory has. It's very positive vibes around this server.
Oh yeah, and I could also like point out really quickly, we got a huge Warriors Den shout out that was super cool. We're literally about to hit 2,000 members, and it's literally been like 8 days that
Yeah.
the server has been open to the public. So it's crazy, like the growth, and it really goes to show that people have been looking for something like this. I think with most people, excuse me, I'm struggling to speak. Most people, if they sit down and they play like a match, they'll realize just how fun that kind of competitive rule set is. Like, and it's not boring, and it's not a stare fest.
Yeah. Okay, so the For Honor Trials, the main purpose of it is to get a bunch of people, and not just for PC. There are Xbox and PS4 players as well, who are in there. I don't know. Do we know if they've been able to get scrims together for PS4 and Xbox?
Yeah, they've been getting streams going for every single platform every single day.
Sick. That's awesome. So this Discord server is for all platforms of the game, for all skill levels of the game, and the purpose of it is to basically just improve how people play and clear up misconceptions, etc.
Yeah, it's addressing that mindset, not by saying like, "Hey, competitive is great." It's like, "Hey, competitive is great. Here's an opportunity to play it, and I guarantee you're gonna have a good time."
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's learning by doing. If you don't
Yeah.
want to consume videos or spreadsheets, like you said, just you're gonna play the game anyways. Why not play it in that environment now?
Yeah.
Might as
And
well.
it's just so much better environment. Like, who likes playing matchmaking? And then like before, who likes running into 4 Lawbringers, meme stack of people that are coordinated in a 4 stack, and you're just by yourself? It's like, well, this game is a given loss.
Yeah.
And playing on Forge or Beachhead or Gauntlet.
Yeah.
Good maps.
Good maps. Very good maps.
Man.
Okay, so there were Danny kind of spoke briefly on roles. Like there was staff, Freeze being an admin. Raawhit, what is your role in the For Honor Trials? What do you do in the server?
Pretty much like what Danny said earlier. I have the coach role, and usually I would be the one setting up for scrims, trying to get a lobby going, and then I would just try to help people out, teach them ganks. I would usually be the shot caller, necessarily. I'll tell them when and where to rotate. I'll tell them how to do this gank, or etc.
Mhm.
Yeah. I
And
played with Raawhit on Friday.
how did I do,
Did it?
Mr. Freeze?
Yeah, well done. Yeah, well done.
Thank you.
No, seriously. It was same as a Tree Jack and Shiggy. Like, that's the three coaches I was with. Yeah, and Kyle. Yeah, I can't complain at all. There was a lot of stuff like seriously. I'm
I
not
also
just
try not
saying
to.
that but no, like rotations they aren't easy. Like what's the next priority? Just being told that and being able to identify yourself maybe why that call out was just made. It helps a lot.
Yeah, I mean, at the beginning, if I try to hold their hand for a little bit, but I feel like it'll click after a couple of games and they'll start doing it on their own. Hopefully, that's like my goal. And I also try to make it not sound boring because
Yeah.
it can be boring.
Yeah. Also, Raw is kind of selling himself short. He is not just a coach; he is a star coach. Chat. I want you to know he is a star.
Yeah, I can
Overall-
briefly explain like how the server
Yeah,
works.
yeah.
just
Go
kinda
ahead. Tell the
like,
difference in
exactly
that.
the mechanics of it. So
Yeah.
so when you first join, and you read the rules, which I accidentally just moved out of that category. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh
Good
my
at it.
god. Oh my god. Okay, I hope
Fix
this
it,
works.
Nutella.
Okay. You read through the rules, you go to the other page that you can see. You can't see any of the server. You go to role assign. You've got your platform roles, your scrim roles, temporary scrim roles, tournament ping roles, and region roles. The only hard required role when you first join is the platform role. The way we set up the ping roles, since a lot of frustration that we had with Warrior Trials, like the previous iteration of the server, like at the beginning of last year, that was created by Prime Goliath, was that people didn't like getting constantly pinged.
Mhm.
So we have both the permanent scrim roll that you can assign to yourself and unassign whenever you want, and then a temporary scrim roll that gets applied for 2 hours. So you sit down, you're like, I'm looking to play for the next, hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. I'm gonna apply this roll, and then I don't have to think about it anymore. And then after you're done playing, it's just gonna get taken off automatically by the bot.
Yeah.
So then we have a scrim ping text channel for each platform, and anybody can at any time ping the scrim type, so 4v4 scrims, plus however many people they need to get a full lobby. And then they can also ping the coaches to just universally ping the coaches of their platform that, hey, we're looking for coaches. And it's really not a hard requirement, like I said in your chat, but it's super duper recommended because one, there's a lot of coaches. They're usually you're easily going to get coaches. So they're an easy +2, your lobby is fuller. Wow. And they're going to be people that really help you. So you should usually always do that. And it's like a limit of one full coach per team. Then we have the supporting coach, which is like an up and coming coach. So people that join the server and improve to that level, we're always looking to get more coaches and supporting coaches that are just going to help. If you have more knowledge around people that don't have knowledge, like they're going to absorb it. So if you were to have 3 supporting coaches on a team, or rather 2 and then a coach, and then one person doesn't know anything, by the end of that session, like they're going to know a lot because every person they're going to be with in that game is going to have like game knowledge. So like I said, supporting coach is the lowest tier of coach. It's pretty easy to get if you have like a basic understanding of fours, and people can apply for it by like having a coach vouch for them. Then we have the star coaches, which are coaches that have the star player role. It's like a top tournament winner for that platform. People can DM me with like tournament wins, and I talk to like the respective top players and TOs of each platform. Like, is this guy like a top player in your opinion? Like, yeah, I've seen him win however many tournaments. Okay, cool, he's gonna get that.
Mhm.
Another feature we have for the server is that streamers who have like trials, scrims, there's like a little like whitelist for words in their stream title get put on the competitive for honor cam up top the sidebar. And then we have TOs and streamers indicated. And that basically covers it. We have just a ton of little scrim hubs on the sidebar. People to fill up.
Okay, so there's kind of a role for pretty much everybody. There's a role for people who are trying to gain more knowledge and just play. Then there are people who are wanting to help other people and while also trying to improve their in-game knowledge. and then there are top players who are star players, star coaches who.
Yeah, so you can join, and if you're sorry to cut you off really quickly, important message. Like you can join if you're not ready to play in scrim. Something we were talking about earlier amongst ourselves is like people that are shy. It's like, hey, you can join and you can just talk to people that you've heard. You can talk to Freeze, you can message Barak if you like his montages, you can message whoever, and the competitive players are usually very receptive to just chatting with people about the game and
Yeah.
answering questions. And then, of course, another thing we're doing, which we're doing today, is on Sundays, we're going to have Spectator Sunday, where we try to host all the scrims on Deddies and on dedicated servers so that spectator mode is available. And you can just message a coach that you can see is in a session in a VC and be like, hey, can I add you? Because I want to spectate your match because I don't really feel like I want to play right now or I'm not ready to play yet. But I'd still like to spectate you as you coach in game and see how you play on a specific character maybe. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, sure.
Okay. Yeah, and this I can say that for me personally, this server is basically everything that I would want. I can play in scrims, and it's also an opportunity for me to help other people. I feel like I am, in terms of skill, I'm not the best player, but I tend to default to trying to knowing like how to do some ganks and how to do some rotations. So I can kind of fill that as a coach in a coach's role. And also, if I'm with like a star coach or somebody else, I can also learn how to improve my callouts, improve like where I should go, where I should tell people to go, what ganks to do, etc. So it really the server is for everybody. It's for like somebody at me who is like middle of the road in terms of skill, but who also want to improve and be better at game knowledge. It's for people like Raw, where there are the top competitive players are in here and they will do scrims, but you can also help people out as well. Like there's something for everybody in this Discord.
Mm-hmm.
One thing, people imagine there's a huge divide, like not skill wise, just a divide between competitive players and normal players. But we all play For Honor. We all want the game to be fun, and we can't do that together and improve at the same time. And I think that's a good possibility with this server.
Like again, I mean, for one, I know Raawhit, he was a streamer, and he started playing in scrims and he started doing well very quickly because he was already like competent at the game just by playing matchmaking. I had never played like in a lot of scrims, and I became very active in For Glory like in December 2018. And very quickly, I got on Scorebrand's team because I had already gotten so good at my character and at the game in general, just playing with my group of friends and matchmaking. And I started winning tournaments with Clutch Legion and Score. Like, it's not something that like people that are good at matchmaking can start playing in like a competitive environment, and suddenly they're doing really good because it translates very quickly. They just have to learn like a few additional things, like refining their rotations, refining how to gank, learning how revenge tags work, etc.
Yeah. And I also think it opens up a different world of For Honor to where you can have fun with it. Like for me personally, and this has been true for a very long time, scrims has been the only way that I've been able to actually enjoy playing For Honor. Like,
I don't touch matchmaking.
Matchmaking has not been fun for me for a very long time, even before they messed up the fix with matchmaking, and now it's just a mess. Even before that, matchmaking wasn't the most fun. And when I started to be able to scrim more, and play in these matches where I can't just mindlessly play. Like I actually have to think about what I'm doing. There's actually stuff for me to learn. That just completely opened my eyes to a completely different side of For Honor that I now find incredibly fun. And even if I'm losing, or even if I'm on a team with people who aren't necessarily the best, or they're just trying to learn and we just get stomped by the other team, like to me that's okay, because there's still stuff for me to learn, there's still stuff for my team to learn. And this server just basically gives me that opportunity. There was yesterday or day before, I don't remember, I think it was yesterday, I was streaming, and there was just somebody on my team who was having a discussion with me about I think it was like the difference between running Rush and Speed Revive on Warlord, and we were on High Fort, and I was saying that Rush was better because of rotation speed and a couple other things, and this guy just was talking about how he didn't think Rush was good. The Speed Revive is always better. Why would you need to rotate with Warlord, etc. And while that is kind of a frustrating conversation to have, because to me it's relatively obvious that at least in this situation, Rush is going to be better than Speed Revive. It got me excited at the same time too, because there are other players who think this way or who have an idea about a feat or something that isn't necessarily correct, and I am in a position to be able to tell them, okay, this is why I think this feat is better than this feat. This is what this feat offers versus what this feat offers, and this is why, in my opinion and the opinions of others, this feat is better. And it gave me an opportunity to try and clear up a misconception. So even though it was a frustrating thing to talk about, because it kind of became like an argument, it was cool to me to be able to talk to them, try and dispel a myth or misconception, if you will, on the feet, while we were scrimming. Like my hope as a coach is just to try and teach somebody something in my game, even if it's like how to game properly, where to rotate, something like that. Like that's my goal.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly think it's the most fun I've had playing For Honor in like the past week. Just trying to help people out and seeing them actually improve is like,
Yeah, from a coach perspective, like it's very satisfying to see people get better.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a satisfying feeling if you see someone listen to you and properly apply it in the game.
Yeah.
And yeah,
winning is fun. And something I just read here
winning
from
is
Sky Knight
just-
in like the chat is that never did scrims before, but before the server, but now I don't want to go back to mem. Like I've heard this so many times, and every time I hear it, I'm just like, yeah, like isn't it great? Like it's such a superior environment to play the game in. Like it's the same game you play in matchmaking, but just better because you're talking to people and you're not dealing with very cancerous things. Like again, not having single pick in maps.
Do we want to talk about the XP thing?
We can talk about it really briefly. I mentioned in chat is that sometimes custom games seem to award XP as a bug. I mean, definitely not intended. We're trying to reproduce it.
Yeah, we tried
like,
to.
If anybody has information on it that they figured out how to reproduce it consistently, that'd be great. Because I'd love to set up scrims that award people XP. Because that's really the only downside versus matchmaking is that you're not going to level up your character.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I was trying to get at, should it be a feature?
I really wish they did like a very, very tiny, significantly reduced amount of experience. And I think that would be enough that people wouldn't feel like it's a quote unquote waste of time.
Yeah.
Like just a very, very, very tiny accumulation of XP, very, very tiny accumulation of steel. Maybe don't have them get gear. Like I feel like
Why
that'd be
not
totally
full
fair.
though?
I mean, I'm just
Because I
trying to.
think
I'm
all the
conceding things.
Yeah, all right, fair enough. Because macro and stuff, they all can do that against bots already. Like you can set every lobby
Yeah.
just against AI. They get XP. They can let the macro run for hours on end. That problem is already there.
At
They
the end of the
wouldn't
day,
create that problem by giving custom games XP and letting us finish orders and stuff. So
if people
I
are
think it should
playing
be a feature, not even with less XP.
they're
Or make
playing
it
Front.
XP like against AI. Do the same.
Freeze, you're very hard to talk over and interrupt.
That's a good thing, I think.
Go ahead.
No, yeah, just basically what I said is like, whatever I said, I already forgot.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting idea to make customs have XP. Like I think I don't understand particularly why there is no XP gain, steals gain, anything like that, because it's not like you're not playing the game. Like Danny briefly said, that they're still playing For Honor. They're still
playing For Honor.
You're right. They're still playing the game. Like I don't understand why it wouldn't be there. I don't know if it's just a limitation on their end or if they're just wanting it to be treated as like training mode.
I don't know. Like the offline matchmaking, you can like go offline and fight bots, and if you do it through matchmaking, you can do it by yourself and get XP. Like I'm very confident they could figure out a way to do it if they wanted to.
Yeah. Verb just said from Ui's point of view, allowing full rewards and customs could make the MM problem worse. Who would want to play MM after that? I don't know if
I don't want to play MM.
Yeah, and to be fair, like people like matchmaking is supposed to be like 4 people against 4 people, like in Dominion, for example, where you can just queue into PvAI and just go yourself against the 4 bots, and that's not really matchmaking either, and that still happens. Like when people get tribute orders, when people get elimination, or no, they don't get elimination orders anymore, it's just tribute. When they get those orders, they go into PvAI. And they don't really participate in matchmaking. They're just playing the game to get the experience and everything, and then they're done. And I think with the state that matchmaking is in, I still think it should be an alternative. Even if they get it fixed, I feel like it should be an alternative.
Yeah, like if I could say that, like, man, if they turned on XP gain in any way and steel acquisition in any way for customs, I wouldn't have a single negative when trying to sell people to play the game this way. Be like, hey, there's literally nothing wrong about it. It's just a better in every conceivable way.
Yeah. Yeah, and
That'd be a dream.
yeah, it's kind of my hope that the Trials Discord kind of not necessarily takes over MM, but more people would look to this Discord and playing with other people in this Discord before going to MM, or just trying to find people in this Discord to play MM with, to at least like get into 3-stack and a 4-stack or something like that.
Yeah,
and do
I
it
mean,
that
hell,
way.
man, you can sit down and like looking to play PC channel and matchmake with people there while you're waiting for a spot, and then you see there's a spot and like, hey, I'm gonna dip out and go play Piranha Trial scrims now. Be like, all right, cool.
Yeah. Let me see. There was one other thing that was actually brought up in my stream yesterday that I forgot to add. Somebody had asked if there was going to be, there's a hierarchy of coaches, like supporting coach, coach, star coach. Is there going to be, do you think there should be a hierarchy for players, like people who think they're beginners, intermediate, experts? Like, is that something that you guys are wanting to do?
It's definitely something we're considering. It's definitely something we're looking into. We're getting a huge amount of support from the competitive fronter mods, like I said, and especially from Lord Dem when it comes to developing bots that are going to do unique things for the server.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely something to look out for in the future. We're going to try and do XP systems and like record how long people are playing in scrims, and we can start like dealing out roles based on that, like hierarchy. Like, what I always like to say is like a Pollyon theme or Blackstone Legion theme that's like sheep, pup, wolf, or something like that.
Okay, sure.
I think that would be fun. I think people like systems like that where they get rewarded for playing in the
Okay.
server.
People like roles. They get a role.
Okay.
Roles are
So something to work towards.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a delicate thing, isn't it?
yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
I
try to avoid the elitism, I guess.
right. I am kind of on the opposite side. Like I understand what Danny is saying. And I don't mind it at all. I just think that it could be very easy to perceive people a different way. Not necessarily from the coaches, because if the coaches do that, then obviously there's a bigger problem with that. But you don't necessarily want the people to feel like they don't belong. And to me, what this Discord is about is about bringing a bunch of people together at all different skill levels to improve and play with people higher skilled than them. And that's, the coaches kind of fill that role. But I feel like if you separate them into beginner, intermediate, and everything like that, it could cause like a perception problem. Like, why is this novice or why is this beginner in with the intermediates or something like that? And I feel like that's against what the Discord is supposed to be for.
I feel you. It's something we're still figuring out how it's gonna work. I mean, one thing that I wasn't even sure about was having different role college for platform,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how we do it right now. But yeah, I hear you, Soresu.
Okay. Yeah, so I think we've pretty much covered everything about this. We've talked about the idea behind it, the vision of the Discord, and goals we pretty much talk about. Way to get connected. I think earlier we posted the link, but here's the command for it. That's the link to the Discord. If people want to get involved, please do. Scrims happen every day. There was like 4, almost 5 sets of scrims yesterday. I'm pretty sure.
We've had, I think, every single day at some point 4 sets.
Yeah.
Since like within like the past 5 days. Like it's crazy, and especially the weekend has been popping off way more. I woke up today I wake up various times throughout the night, and I would look at my phone and be like, people are still scrimming. Like, there's still 2 sets at like 8 a.m. EST or whatever. Like, what the heck?
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, it's super duper easy to start a new one, always.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what the coach role is for. And this is basically what Rod said earlier, is that as a star coach, he's there trying to get scrims to start, being part of the scrims to help. You don't necessarily need a coach. I would always recommend trying to at least get one coach for each side, because you don't.
There's just no reason not to. Like,
Yeah.
the coaches are players, just the same.
Yeah.
They love to play the game. They're super passionate about it. they don't like playing matchmaking 99% of the time. If they're on and they see a coach ping, they're gonna be like, "Oh hell yeah, I get to play for honor," and they'll hop right in.
Yeah.
Like
I
they're basically
mean,
easier to get than other players.
I don't say, oh hell yeah, I'll hop right in, but
You just kind of groan. Like, oh.
I mean, even if I'm not playing and I see people just sitting and looking to play, I'll just try to get those people to start their own set.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
always like trying to help people start and ping.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So don't be too shy. There are almost 2,000 people. There might be 2,000 people now. I don't know. I think before the stream that we were lacking 16 people.
We were at
So
It's down
1886.
to that number is always wrong. We're 5 members away from 2,000.
5 members. Yo, get on it, chat. I don't know how many of you there
Make
are.
it alt.
Yeah, just making all. Yeah, making all. Get in. Make it 2,000. Okay. Was there anything you guys wanted to add about this Discord before we moved on?
Join it. It's great. The coaches are, if there's any instance of toxicity or flame, like I've tried to keep the coaches separate from the staff, so I try not to like command them. But if there's like significant flame or it makes you feel uncomfortable, just DM me or DM staff about it. It's supposed to be a very easy environment to get into and play.
Yeah. There was something I forgot to ask. Is Freeze is what are your perceptions of what do you believe your role is in this Discord server? Because
Do you like my server freeze?
I'm supposed to advertise. That's why I'm here.
But yeah, I'm just curious because like you've played in scrims. Like I've seen you in scrims a few times. I'm just curious. Like I think you're a staff, right? You're an admin of it. So what is
what's it called? What role I got?
Your staff. I mean,
I'm
you're one of
staff.
when I sat down 16 days ago, I was like, all right,
Yeah, it
I'm
was one of
gonna
the
look at
first.
the
people
Art
made
for
for me.
Honor administrators. I'm gonna look at Freeze, competitive for honor moderators, and a couple of the nicer competitive players. So I remember, I think it was like Kaios, Otto, that are like very like Otto is super renowned, one of the best players in the game, maybe arguably the best player in the game, but also super duper nice and approachable. And I was like, I have this initiative. Do you want to join my team, etc.? I went to every person like that and started putting it together. Launched it like 8 days ago.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what
To be honest, I get more out of that server than I give. That's
Gotcha.
my perception of it, actually. Because yeah, I learn more from the. I mean, and there maybe my name gets a few people in there. I actually was surprised last time I joined like a channel with 2 people in, and all of a sudden,
Yeah,
was
people
full.
see community
I was-
content
yeah.
creators that they like. They really want to play with them.
Yeah.
That's why
Yeah.
I'm really big. As another side, I think I didn't mention this, but like the server is great for honor streamers who they want to sit down. They want to either like spectate games and have like a source for honor to cast to their viewers, or sit down and play, because the matchmaking experience for streamers is just as bad as it is for most players. Like you could get really random queues. It's hard to manage downtime on Twitch. You're gonna lose viewers, etc. Like people, now like in my example I was gonna make, Daddy Law, like maybe they're not super up on that kind of play. But in general, streamers who want to stream for honor, it's like you sit down and you play these and you stream them. You're not going to have downtime. It's a much better viewing experience.
Yeah.
You're not going to lose on stream because of your
Mm.
random ass teammates being bad because you can't communicate with them, etc. Like, it's just better. It's just better for everybody.
I'd say the one negative about it is that you don't have enough downtime to talk to chat though. You're
True.
always in a game. That's the one thing that really bothers me. I don't. If I ever do stream, these scrims, I never get to talk to the people
I just
that
have
are
my.
watching.
I do both. I stream them like once or twice, and I just had my
Like, yeah,
chat up.
When I'm setting up the next lobby, like I only have a couple of minutes to do that. Like I kind of do miss having the long queues and having those, like, I guess, serious conversations or just fucking around with chat. I don't really get that anymore.
Yeah, it is difficult to balance. I will tell, like, if I'm doing a scrim or a tournament or something, I usually will tell my chats, like, hey, I will try and interact with you guys as much as I can, but I am trying to focus on the scrim and everything like that, or on the tournament, so I'll probably be more silent. And for the most part, I think people are understanding of it. But if you're used to just always talking to chat and something like that, I mean, it's a big change. And if people go to your stream for that, I mean, I can understand why that would be a problem.
That's
Mhm.
the environment I'm so used to.
Yeah.
I always talk to chat. And
It can even be the other way around.
Yeah.
Like scrim participants being annoyed by one of the guys just constantly talking and they have no clue what's going
that's
on. And then they
another
realize they're talking to their chat.
people
Or
don't
they say
have
something not realizing someone's streaming.
people don't have a toggle mute button when they're talking to chat. It's so annoying.
Yeah, they
I hate
should.
it.
They should. Not
Yeah.
everyone does.
Yeah.
It's just
I have one just for that reason, because I've been with people.
Like, I don't know why people don't do that.
Yeah, like I've been with people who are streaming and they're talking to their chat while we're doing a scrim or something like that, and it's like,
At the end of the day-
can you mute?
Yeah. At the end of the day, there's still ways to get around those problems, and like with certain audio setups, you don't have to capture like the Discord audio if you don't want the chat to be on your stream, you know. But arguably, that play experience is still better.
Yeah,
It's just like how you're gonna interact with chat might be different.
yeah, the play experience I think is absolutely better, for sure. Yeah. Okay, sorry, I had to take a drink. Okay.
Okay.
How dare you?
Yeah. All right. So are we good with this? Are we good to move on to the final topic of the day?
Yeah, I feel like it.
Okay. So the last thing I really wanted to talk about was the conceptions of the competitive community, and we have kind of talked about this a little bit.
Yeah.
Like Ra was saying, like a lot of the people can be considered jerks, or like how the competitive community plays. So we kind of talked about like what are the misconceptions. I would like to hear from Ra first. What do you think drives these misconceptions in these people? Like what drives them to continue to be a thing?
Just from what they hear, like they don't really experience it for themselves. It's usually they usually have like an outside perspective of it. I feel like, especially when it came to For Glory, I've always seen people come to my chat or like anything like that, and they're never actually in the server themselves, seeing like what's actually happening. Or if we do meme on somebody, I feel like it's kind of deserved when it happens, because they kind of bring it upon themselves. Like there's nothing we can do about that. Like we can't push it over, but I feel like they just always have an outsider look at it.
Yeah. Okay. What about you, Free? Same question to you. What do you think drives these misconceptions to continue to exist?
I mean, the competitive scene didn't have a glorious start, considering the 1v1 tournament and
Glory.
That's not just a For Glory thing. It's unlocked. Yeah, I mean, chat mentioned unlocked tech and stuff, and they saw that Kotaku article and that stuff. I mean, you still find that when you Google it, and it's still in the back of people's minds, and no one bothers to actually update that whole thing for themselves.
Just gonna politely ask Kotaku to take that misleading article down. Did they ever
Yeah.
update the like prize pool? Because I remember they misreported
I
it.
stole $1 million.
No,
That's
yeah.
just true. Bought a castle in Poland. That's what happened. I mean, it's really weird, yeah, because people believe that, and even if you're just, I'm not just barely playing the game. People play five games at the same time, and then they play For Honor, then they read about that, and they immediately dismiss the whole concept of competitive because of that. And I think it's just hard to shake that off. And yeah, a little bit on Yubi to fix it.
There was a very famous Noah C moment that happened like middle to early of last year that I remember, when there was like 20 or 30 people in For Glory Discord, in the in For Glory, that was in a voice channel. And Noah C, if people don't know who Noah C is, Noah C, I think he used to be a YouTuber that played For Honor in console. Yeah. And he actually a lot of that conversation was about how Noah C perceived what Alernican did at the tournament with the unlocked tech, and how he negatively perceived it and how it affected him. And that just, to me, what that means is there are content creators out there who are also potentially perpetuating this, these misconceptions, and giving them life too, even if it's not necessarily on purpose. Like Daddy Law will make fun of people who play competitively all the time, and it's hilarious. And I think it's fine. I don't think that he can be held necessarily responsible for if people in his stream adopt this idea that all of the competitive people play this way. Because if you are in Daddy Law's stream, you know that he roasts people, he jokes around a lot. And I've talked to him, and I've even talked to him on the podcast, and he says that he, in a competitive setting, it's different than a matchmaking setting, and that sometimes playing against somebody who plays that way in matchmaking is frustrating, and that's understandable. But I don't think people who take that mindset from like Daddy Law's stream can do that with any kind of integrity, because they don't know that this is basically how Daddy Law is. He roasts people. He hates me. He hates like all these other people. Because it's what he does. Like he makes fun of people, and I think it works.
I feel like everybody wants to say something.
Everybody.
I feel like minus obviously like, and he mentioned in your chat like the stream interaction problems. He said at some point that like he doesn't really like that level of play. I feel like even Daddy Law, like I feel like anybody who really sits down and tries it is still gonna have fun, and like they'll realize that like
he's
oh,
done
maybe
it.
He has. He was in a tournament.
He got second or third in the steel tourney.
Yeah, he was with like Silver and Mac, right? I can't remember.
I feel like even when Daddy Law is flaming people, you know, for playing, I guess, optimally in matchmaking on the other team, he'll also flame his stack for not, you know, doing a simple GB for Impale or anything like that. I feel like it goes both ways for him.
Yeah. And I was just using him as an example because he's one of the most popular streamers in For Honor. The main draw of his stream is his personality, because it's great. And his improv with his jokes and everything like that it makes for really, really good content. And that's what he does. And I've also seen other content creators who I will not mention that don't do it in a joking way and really do perpetuate like what competitive players are. They're all jerks. They all play bad, or they all play like turtles, which is this is killing the game, like et cetera, et cetera. Like there's a difference.
Smaller streams like that. People are like that.
Like they need to do this sometimes. They built their brand around this is my playstyle. This is what you should be looking at. This is the deflect god, whatever they call themselves. Yeah. And if they admit that wouldn't work against competitive players because they're just better, don't know. They sometimes just need to have that persona, not persona, not all.
Are you kind of referencing anybody here?
Oh, there are plenty of them. Take a pick. It's just, they need to do it for views. I think most of them know better. They just do it because it gets them more views, and I can't fault them for that. Because that is just how it works. If you get more views in one video, the next one will probably get more as well. The algorithm adjusts. Can't fault them for it. They do it for the views. But it's not helping. Yeah,
if they do that, then I think they forfeit their right to complain about it. Complain about how people are playing in their games.
Yeah. I feel like there are people like that have come and played on the server and they've had good experiences. So at the end of the day, when you first, so kind of like stepping back really quickly, when you first approached the misconceptions topic with Raawhit, it's like what he kind of said is they hear about it, they hear about the competitive community, but they've never really been in some of those servers, or they've been in them at like low points or bad times where there's already like drama. But if you sit down and interact with those people and you interact with that community like right now, like if you join the For Honor trials and you talk to like star players, you're just going to have a positive experience. If you sit down and play, you're going to have a positive experience, and you'll kind of melt away those
things
almost like gossip that you kind of hear. Yeah, like slander almost.
But what about the people who have experienced like tilted comp players, like tilted setmix, for example, or who watch Clutch's stream and you see him like yelling at his teammates in MM or something like that? Like
you can't conflate individuals with the entire community. Like
you can't group with
Clutch is like it's persona. He gets loud, he gets mad.
Yeah.
Setmix has like his tilt. Like he's a really nice guy, but when he gets upset, he'll go for every curse word in his book and he'll yell. Like that's just them. That's not every person. Score
right.
can be super nice, super helpful, can get super duper upset. Like it's individuals. It's not every person.
Yeah, for sure. I've been on both sides of both the nice and tilted set mix and the nice and tilted Scorebrand. I've had Scorebrand tell me that I was a complete trash player, and then I've had Scorebrand tell me good job on this gank, or this is how you can help do this gank better. So I think I completely understand that. Have you Freeze, have you had any negative experiences in any of your interactions with comp players, either for videos or for playing with or against them?
Freeze, you're so bad.
There's one.
Never been called bad. No, not really. Like everyone's really, really nice to me. Like I said, I think I have a special within the community.
Okay.
I mean, I've dodged them in matchmaking. Yeah, I've.
Oh
Sometimes,
no.
I mean, sometimes I'm just not in the mood.
Dodged
So,
me.
I mean, everyone. Nah. Last time we just left after the first game.
That's
Is that dodging?
rage. Yeah,
Is that dodging? All right, fair enough.
that's dodging.
But no, not really. I had some weird one, but I'm not gonna tell that. But other than that, no,
Tease.
positive. Most of it, all of it, actually. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I was similar to Raw when I was first getting involved in the competitive community. I came from basically only watching Ice Guys on Twitch like almost every day. My warden is still fashion is still basically his.
Fanboy.
Yep. And then I just started getting involved in the competitive community and watching the different streams. Like I would watch Clutch's stream, I would watch the scrims and the tournaments and stuff like that. And I would I just found myself migrating away from Skies and that perception of the comp play, like of not necessarily every perception that Skies had, but like a lot of people in his chat that you would see would feel about the competitive community. That completely shifted for me. I joined For Glory. I played in scrims, did badly, got called names by certain other people, but I kept playing and I kept asking for help. And I've asked Setmix for help, who has been a harsh critic of mine before, and he was more than willing to help if I asked him specific questions. Like, hey, here's the link to the VOD. At this point, I did this. What should I do? What should I have done here? Like, what can I improve on? And I got help. I think it's just mainly the mindset that you have and wanting to actually seek it out from these people, and not necessarily, like Danny used a good word, conflating what one person does and to the rest of the community. I think.
And then like that's the difference between. Sorry, did you have more to say?
Nope, you're good.
That's the difference between like For Glory is the top players of the game. They've been around forever. Like For Glory has been. I actually don't know. It existed when I started playing the game. So probably since it's maybe even before its launch. I have no idea. And those people are really tight. It's a tight knit group of close friends at this point. Like you can expect that people behave differently when they're in that kind of environment versus like a more like. I had a good thought. I'm kind of losing it, but like For Glory is a group of friends, and then Front on Trials is like a competitive hub.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's a difference between the top players of the game congregating and it's like their server and like just a broader community centric server.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like you can expect people to be more tribalistic within For Glory.
Yeah.
Because it's like a really big friend group basically.
Do you? This is I think I've heard this been said like 1,000 times, but that For Honor Trials is now For Glory 2.0. And I don't think that's necessarily true at all. It might have some of the same players, like you have the top players in this Discord, but the function of the Discord is definitely different.
Like I said, the difference is like For Glory is the top players of PC. It's basically just for the top players of PC. It's where I imagine if people wanted to get top level team scrims, like my team with Score and Shigs and Rave wanted to play against like another top NA team or like a top EU team, we would ask in For Glory for another team scrim. So it's like that very top level at the peak, and then below that is like For Honor Trials. There's like people that are trying to get to that level, and like we even have like a link to an Xbox One top player server that's like the For Glory equivalent for Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
You know, those people help us and they join our staff. So no, I don't think it's For Glory 2.0. It shares top players from every platform, which of course is going to include top players from PC from For Glory.
Yeah. Yeah, For Glory hasn't been a For Honor Discord actually in quite some time. It just happens to be that a lot of the people that are in it were there from For Honor and know about and know
they say that,
Yeah, they say that, but
it's still a For Honor Discord.
Well, that's just what Hugs has said multiple times, and other people have said that they've moved away from it being a For Honor Discord, or at least a specifically For Honor Discord. But yeah, it hasn't really happened.
Friend group that includes the top players of For Honor.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so we've talked about lack of knowledge really and resources. The last thing I wanted to kind of talk about, which is a topic that seems to come up with like 2 of my other podcasts now, but always seems to be relevant, is the whole culture of For Honor. I think the game has its own culture. I think there's the competitive scene has their own culture. The casual scene kind of has their own culture. Is this something that you guys think is also a big problem as to why misconceptions happen? Like there's obviously mindset is different, but I'm looking a little bit beyond mindset when I'm referring to culture.
Have you ever had Kawhi on this podcast?
Yes, I have.
Kawhi has a lot of insight into this topic because he was like a mid-level comp player for Overwatch, if I recall correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard him talk about how like this kind of stuff is a very universal tournament scene thing for games, like elitism and that kind of thing. It's like it's a comp scene. Like some toxicity evolves. They're humans. There's ego.
Yeah.
It's not like a For Honor specific thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that. But is that this the separate cultures or the perception of them the reason for these misconceptions? Because to me, that the biggest reason for all of these is the differing quote unquote culture between the two, not necessarily just a mindset, but just and how the competitive community is, how the casual community is. I think it causes I think is a big cause of the problem.
Yeah, I think there's just like a missing middle link there. Like I said, like For Glory's top level, random people in MM are bottom level, and then there just needs to be an environment where there's an in-between, or there's like a culture clash because people aren't used to like a competitive culture at all and how people act in them. So they'll join For Glory and they'll have an ego that's kind of perceived as unearned. Maybe they're actually a really good player in matchmaking, but like you need to show it to people that are already at that top level because they hold themselves in that position internally. And then you'll get like memed and flamed.
Yeah. Rob, when you were just trying to when you were just starting to get into the competitive community, and before that, did you have any sense of maybe the reason that maybe you felt this way about the competitive players before you moved on and saw how they really were was attributed to the culture of the people that you were fighting, or the
people I was playing with? So the casual friends that I played with, they never liked it. So I also just, hopped on that train. Comp plays bad, comp players are mean. And then those casual people I played with started, hating on me for even like attempting to play in scrims or wanting to get better.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks. It's just like so many misconceptions that have become so ingrained into people for 2 years because there just hasn't been, I think, enough like attempts at something like For Honor Trials. And I mean, there have been, like, if you look at For Honor Mentors, and other things, like people have tried. I think nothing has ever really stuck, and I really hope the service sticks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, same. I think with almost 2,000 people, I think it will stick. And I think if it's like you were talking about this middle link between like the casual community and the competitive community, I really think that this Discord could be that middle link. That the casual community can come in and see how the competitive people are, see how the people who are around their level that are trying to get better, they can see how the competitive community interacts with them, how the competitive community plays. And then there's that bridge there to how the competitive community is. So there's one For Honor culture instead of a casual culture and a competitive culture. like the biggest disparity is like you look at the For Honor subreddit and then you look at the For Honor competitive subreddit. Those two are almost pretty close to the same. There's just one is on the more competitive level, but you see interesting things getting upvoted in the competitive For Honor, and there's some posts that are taken down, some that aren't, and then you go to the For Honor subreddit and like Freeze said, what is upvoted the most, like memes and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think this Discord can basically help be a bridge to even push the competitive subreddit up to where it should be, as opposed to where it is now. And even with the For Honor subreddit as well, that can be elevated because they can still be memes and stuff, but you don't necessarily have to dog on competitive people and how to play. What has Reddit said about trials? I don't know. What has Reddit said?
Redditor.
What was that, Rock?
I don't look on Reddit, so I wouldn't know.
True.
Danny, would you know? I know this Karma person is a big fan of For Honor.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize I was muted. I was like actually joking about people ignoring me. Okay. I was like, am I? People literally talking over me. Okay, so I've been looking at the Reddit. So it hasn't really been advertised on the main sub, which is where you're gonna really see like the true Reddit feedback. So not 100% sure. The competitive For Honor sticky post when we first announced it with like limited console support or that it was coming, people expressed a lot of enthusiasm. It was just like 18 or 20 or 30 comments or something, and then people were expressing disappointment that it wasn't on console yet. Now we have the new sticky that explains very clearly like it's multi-platform and everything is supported, and it's all positive feedback. But again, it's like 5 comments, so we're not really gonna be sure until we get to having post sticky announced. Would be super cool on the R For Honor subreddit and an announcement in the R For Honor Discord.
Yeah.
So you can't really tell. Like
Yeah.
a lot of people by the end of the Warriors Den, they start talking about competitive stuff. They close the stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you look
Now
in
watching that
Twitch
stream,
chat, yeah.
I was looking at Twitch chat. There are a lot of people that are like, oh, I don't care about competitive stuff. It's just, But then I saw so many people. I definitely saw like 50 something, if not more, as I was watching and looking in Twitch chat for Warriors. Then when they plugged us, was like, this is so cool. This is amazing. Holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I saw more of that than the people are like, get on with it, we don't care, or tournaments or competitive dance game. You know, I think I saw more of the people interested in it than anything else.
It was a thing in between, like when they introduced the whole thing, the kind of intro, and then when they actually started saying it, chat started to switch a little.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Freeze, I know you made a video about basically announcing the For Honor Trials Discord. What has the reaction of your viewer base been to the Discord?
When I made it, the console thing wasn't that yet, so they said something. Yeah, we're forgotten again, console. But otherwise, I don't know. Wasn't that many comments actually on it. They didn't really comment on it that much. They were happy, most of them, but the overall comment was just, yeah, no.
What I
video
saw-
didn't take off all that much.
Yeah, what I saw a lot of was just people because I commented like first thing when I got the chance and I didn't get back to it for a day. The people who had questions could send them my way because I was the server owner, or I'm the server owner. What I saw the most was just Oceanic players, Australians, etc. Like, hey, am I supported? It's like, yep. There's a region role for OCE. You just join, and you know if you're gonna be unplayable in NA or E matches, you just try and congregate with people from your region. And I mean, I can quickly how many like OCE tag players we already have should be like really easy. So members, and again, not everybody even applies. There's at least like 20 people here already who have the OCE role across different platforms.
Yeah.
And say, I mean, every region is supported. You can always give it a shot and see how your latency is going to be.
Yeah. Freeze, or not Freeze, sorry. Verb brought up a thing you remember. What's up with the comp program that's been teased by UB. Okay, I don't really know. I'm hoping to talk about that.
We're probably going to hear about that with Year 4's like more solid announcement, whenever that is.
Probably by the end of this month, they were talking about it on the Den stream.
Yeah, because
I think they're gonna wait like announce it beforehand or just with the reveal stream? Because I don't know what they're going to reveal this time. They can't make a 3-hour battle pass stream.
Right.
So it's not going to fly.
Dude, I'm actually super excited for the battle pass. I love battle passes. I used to play a good bit of Fortnite.
Fortnite.
Fortnite. We love Fortnite.
I always
We like Fortnite. We like Fortnite.
I always like the idea of a battle pass. I just don't know how they're gonna do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to see. I'm interested.
Yeah, I'm very interested.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what they'll put in it. To me, it kind of feels like they might be trying to see how a free to play option would look, kind of gauge how many people want to actually have the battle pass, and then go from there. I think it's a decent idea. I just think they need to do more work on the game for it. Even if it is free, I think the issues with the game are still a bit too much to where I'm not sure new players are going to stay, even if it is free. But I am interested in the battle pass as well. But they probably will reveal something on that reveal stream. They probably will tell us what at least what the bare bones of this comp program is what I assume.
I mean, they need something. They need some content. There's not going to be a new character.
Yeah.
I don't know. The testing grounds didn't give us any new characters here. Are they just going to slap another round of untested character changes at the beginning of the season? I don't know. Must be something. So might be come stuff. Who knows?
Yeah.
I doubt
We're
there's
on
gonna be
chapter
show.
2.
What'd you say, Rob?
I doubt that they're gonna have like showcase matches. Like, there's no point in that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's gonna be a lot of
Do
information.
we know if anyone's
hopefully.
been invited? Is that usually
No.
known by now? Like,
I have no idea.
No, and
wouldn't-
how
usually
many
if it's
weeks?
known, it's
I don't
kind
know,
of like
4
a
maybe?
thing that people keep amongst like tiny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. We're in
It's
the off.
usually like the week before.
Yeah. We're in the
Yeah,
week
because
before.
they'll be saying
All
that
right,
they're like
then
in
it might
Montreal.
take a while. So, all right.
Yeah.
We're 3 members from 2000.
3 members from 2000. Chat. What are you doing?
3 members from 2000.
Are you in the Discord? Let's go.
Pretty sure like a lot of people that are in your chat probably have already like if they have any level of interest in that kind of stuff, they're already.
But like Free said, make
Go
alts.
for it.
Yeah.
Make alts.
Can you link it again? Don't make alts. That's cheating.
Join the scrim twice, easy.
Jeebus says, I don't want to join. Okay, Jeebus.
I hate Jeebus.
Hey, Jeebus, dude.
We hate Jeebus.
Yeah.
We hate Jeebus. We hate Jeebus.
Yeah, okay, so that was pretty much everything I wanted to talk about with misconceptions. Is there anything you guys wanted to add on this?
Not really. I think just a lot of people, like, again, if they're not familiar with the comp scene and top players, they join servers like For Glory, they see banter and they mistake it as like drama, or they, it's just that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Just don't be shy. Just join. It's really no one's biting.
Yeah.
Yeah, coaches are super duper nice. I mean, there was even somebody who just said like a sec ago, in your chat,
About Tree Jack.
Yeah.
Melon Lord. I thought the comp scene was going to be full of egotistical elitism, but I was proven wrong immediately by Tree Jack, who was my first coach. Coaches are friendly and are willing to help my poor casual butt.
Yeah.
I've been very careful to try and make sure that coaches play nice. And if I get complaints, I've gone to DMs and asked people, etc. Like, hey, if I know somebody's streaming, like, I'm going to watch your next stream and give you pointers on like what you can do better as a coach. Like how your attitude needs to be different.
Yeah, which
is why there are like some competitive players that are in the server and do actively play for Honor and they aren't coaches because they already feel themselves like, or you don't see them coaching very often because they feel like I'm probably gonna get upset, I'm gonna flame, but I want to be here as a resource people can talk to like in text channels.
Yeah. Yeah. Was there anybody in chat who had other questions that we may not have covered about the Discord or anything else that you would like to have answered before we take off? I have a question. Why didn't you guys just upgrade For Glory? Why make it an entirely different server?
Again, because they're kind of, again, For Glory is like a friend group now. They say it's not really a For Honor server. It would be out of place. It doesn't make sense for that server to be made into a hub like that.
Yeah.
If anything, it would cause problems and there'd be like clashing.
Yeah, the function of this server as opposed to the function of For Glory is completely different. Did you guys talk about the idea of purposely limiting connection to show bad ping, how bad ping isn't punished?
No.
No. I mean, we do peer-to-peer like almost no matter what. I think if everybody's in A and around each other, you can do dedicated servers. But I think the rules are start with peer to peer. If I remember,
I feel like what you're getting at is more of like a matchmaking problem where people can remain at like
oh,
ridiculous latencies for the servers of their region and not get kicked. But within scrims, like everybody's communicating. It's like, hey, I already know my connection's gonna be kind of spotty. Let's play a couple games, and if it's a problem, I'll back out. Like most people are like that have trouble with the internet.
okay.
So I mean, I can tell you my opinions. Yeah, like the restriction for ping and matchmaking is like too lenient.
It's 350 in game latency.
What?
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Really?
5 seconds of 350. Yeah.
I
That's
thought it was
crazy. I
lower
feel
than
like
that, but
that's-
wow.
If higher than 70 is annoying, and like 100 at that point is like
Yeah,
frustrating.
there is a person who plays Shigoki that plays around the same time I stream as like just a coffee shop or something like that.
Oh, I love that guy.
He's like 130, 140 consistent ping, dude. I've never seen faster Shugo lights or in heavies in my life.
It's a fun time.
It is.
That's matchmaking for you.
What about trying to get a good comp with characters and their roles as opposed to everyone doing their own thing?
I can answer this in what
Okay.
Freeze said, Magnetic Freeze said combined. So one, again, I said this in text. We don't force character picks. Now the coaches in character select usually do recommend like, hey, we need a body count character, or it's Citadel Gate, like, hey, we should have 2 body count characters. You can ask them about feats. We have the competitive rule set feat bans, so Sun Trap, Bear Trap, and Second Wind are banned. But we don't really force composition and character picks. So we allow players to play characters like Shigoki that are horrendous in 4s, because the point is, again, not to just tell people things, not to just give them the information, but say like, Shigoki's really bad, and we're gonna try and play it out in this match. And we're gonna be in situations where we need to gank, and I'll tell you what we can kind of try to do, but you're gonna learn for yourself why Shigoki's bad. You don't see him at high level. And at the same level point, you're saying like, hey, if you play Lawbringer and you play mid, you're gonna see how much better we do with score, but you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
Or you'll see like if you don't play Lawbringer, like how much of a disadvantage you're at.
Yeah, it's a great time to use the environment that is naturally progressing. It's organic, basically. Teaching moments to say, okay, we didn't do well because of XYZ. This character can't really do that much. This is why. Like, let's try, like, if you want, let's try playing this character that plays a similar role and see how it goes, etc. Yeah, and I've said that too. It's like I don't feel like it's my job to force people to play what's meta. I feel like it's my job to help them improve with whatever character they're playing.
Whatever they're comfortable with.
Yeah. Even if the person just says playing one character is boring, so I have to random.
Oh my god.
Do you remember that guy, Raw?
Don't even get me started on that.
We still helped. We still helped, even if that is what you
Yeah, you can still work around it, but it's just like
yeah,
it can be tough sometimes.
It can be, but we have people who are more than willing to do it. You're doing single pick? Oh, that was already answered. Yes.
Yeah.
That is true.
Always.
Yes, it is competitive rule set. I think it's much better, and I hope like whatever they're doing for the comp scene, I want it to be 4v4 ranked. That it's like either solo or duo. That would be nice with single pick, please.
Maybe they'll try and integrate like a ranked mode as like a qualifier for like an actual Ubi sponsored tournament.
Yeah, that would not be bad. Should Smoke Bomb be banned or limited? No.
No, in my opinion, no. Smoke Bomb is definitely a very good tier 2, and I like feats that are good. But I think it just has like interesting play moments.
Yeah.
Versus something like Morale Booster before, where it was just like, I press 4, my team do damage.
How are the matches put together in For Honor Trials?
So anybody can ping the scrim rolls at any time. So they could ping 4v4 scrims +7. We need 7 people to get 8. And then at the coaches in their message, they'll hop in a hub or they'll hop in looking to play. And once you've got 8 people, presumably and preferably 6 ordinary players and 2 coaches and whatever combination of like supporting coaches, because they don't really fit into that thing. You'll go into the coaches are supposed to host the lobbies because they have experience doing that. They might explain how they do it. And the coaches are always on separate teams. Supporting coaches keep an equal count on separate teams. And usually for the rest, we just random it. and see from there if there's like really, really bad team discrepancy. If we kind of see that there are people that they shouldn't be grouped together because they're not at, they're both at like a very low level, we try and separate them.
I
So it's a
never realized
combination
how
of,
bad the randoming is.
yeah, the randoming is not random. It's hilarious. It's I don't even know, dude.
Yeah, and
I
there
remember
are.
one time
Go ahead. Finish.
I remember one time we random like 6 times in a row and got the same teams, and like I think Score did the math and it was just like 0.0000000 like 1%. It was hilarious.
And there are times where we might do a little bit more tailoring than just hard randoms. Like we'll like random like the first map, maybe 2, and if it's pretty obvious that like these 2 players shouldn't be on the same side because it would just make the teams too imbalanced, then the coaches can make that call and say it would be best if these 2 players are separated so everything is a bit
And
more
if you
balanced.
average it out, it's a better learning environment
Yeah.
for both of them.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And for everybody.
Let's see. Are there any more questions that are related to the server? Like I know somebody asked how you make 4v4 ranked work because it bombed. Like I don't mind answering that question, but I would like them to be
Pretty easy.
tell us, Freeze.
Just make the rewards bigger than the normal map, because that's what drives it.
We need an
That's why
incentive
game
to
modes
play.
die out,
Yeah.
because they don't get enough XP, they don't get enough steel. Just make the rewards big enough. Give huge steel amounts at the end of a season for a high rank, so people are actually incentivized to climb in rank. It's not that hard.
I can give my really quick, like what I really want for 4v4 ranked is single pick, only good maps, the competitive rule set maps. They don't really need to enforce feat bans. I think that'd be weird.
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be super cool, but like I don't even know if they could do that through their system. And then I want it to be a limit of duo queue into the mode. It would just alleviate a lot of the frustration of people trying to play and then they run into a 4-stack.
Will there be couch? I assume you mean coach exhibition matches. Yes, actually, they're happening today, right?
There's a lot of stuff we're doing. So I kind of I was a little more vague on that announcement. I edited it up. The point for today on Spectator Sunday was that every single game, preferably, hopefully, would be on Dedi so anybody could spectate. Not that we were specifically going to have coach only matches that everybody would spectate, but that's definitely something we could do.
You muted.
Yeah, something.
Yeah,
happened?
you're muted. You muted.
I know I'm muted. Somebody entered my room.
Oh, okay.
No, yeah, it's definitely something we plan to do. We also plan to do workshop specific scrims and stuff that we create a schedule based around the coaches that want to do something. It all goes through Google Docs because Spaniard is an info wizard, and then we make a sign up sheet, and it'll be stuff like specific characters, specific 4v4 mechanics, and again, we could definitely try and coordinate actual coach exhibition matches. So like my team against Sai's team, the 2 top NA teams. And we'll do it in the server and then invite people to spectate and stuff like that.
Yeah. I think it even would be cool to do like one of the top teams against an up and coming team too, so you can see like a difference in how the top team will rotate and how a top team will gank, and then you can see like they ganked quickly and fluidly here, which means they were able to rotate around the map. But like use different examples like that too to show you see what peak For Honor play looks like in the NA region. And then you can see how like this one team can improve in these areas to, continue to move up. I think that would also be cool.
Very briefly, be right back.
Okay.
If that's all right. Is that
yes,
all right?
that is that. Yes, that is.
Okay.
Fine. I'm not going to force you to do anything.
I am a plus for coach pickups. Like, I mean, I don't mind helping people out like every day, but I've missed playing in like those top level scrims for like about a week. So if we can get like a scheduled day for just coach pickups and people want to watch that, because that's like the most fun For Honor is for me. Like, yeah, coaching is fun too, but man, I miss playing at peak For Honor.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think having times to do that would be beneficial because
Yeah, I feel like everyone would learn off of that too.
Yeah.
Like one person, you can get like Verb to, get a Discord live stream going in a VC, and he could just cast over it while everyone else is watching.
Yeah.
I feel like that'd be so much fun to watch too.
Yeah, I agree, and it's a good break for the coaches too, because they, like you said, like you're not the only person who's a coach who wants to play on a team with people where you're not actually coaching. Like you can
Yeah.
actually just play. They can just play to play. Like you do need a break because it's still work because you not only have to focus on what you're doing in the game, you have to.
It's very exhausting.
Yeah, it is because you have to watch other people, and then you have to watch what the enemy team is doing and tell everybody, okay, this is what's happening. Here's what we should do here. Here's what. Yeah. It's a lot goes into it.
Yeah, it's a lot harder than people think it is.
I don't tend to do tourneys because I'm a really bad Shugo, but if Rex asks me to join, I'll join. I mean, yeah. I mean, if you want to join the Trials Discord, Scrumptious, you can learn. Like if you're set on playing Shigoki, I mean, we can definitely help you play the character better, even if there are better picks. And if you just want to improve as an overall player, I mean, this is definitely the place to get that experience. And then, yeah, join Rex, join tournaments. Like we are always, even if you're not a good team necessarily, or even if you're a new team, join tournaments to get the experience anyway. Even if you know you're not going to win, like join to get the experience because you can learn something while you're playing. And getting tournament experience should not be undervalued at all. I'm actually surprised your coaches play with the people they're coaching.
I mean, I wouldn't be a coach if I didn't want to play with like people
Yeah.
at a lower skill level.
Yeah. And on a logistical, practical level, it's going to be difficult to have like 4 people on each side, both in a VC, and having 2 coaches who aren't part of the game to help coach the team through something, because the spectator mode is not live, and you're not necessarily going to be able to keep up with. You would have to basically one person would have to stream and you watch that, but even then it's still going to be delayed. So I just think on a practical level it's better. Go ahead.
I think it would be even more exhausting for the coaches.
Yeah.
Just watching and then trying to basically maneuver the 4 pawns around.
Right. Yeah. It's hard to play chess on like a 10-second delay.
Just being in the game, I think, is and it feels more impactful for the coaches as well as the players.
Like it'd be fun to try to, if like coaches were to make their own teams of like the new people.
Yeah.
But as far as I know, it is, or maybe it is because of what boost your server has, how much the delay is. Is it 10 seconds? I mean, in-game spectating, but the Discord one, that should
Discord
be
live.
much.
It's like a second delay. It should be.
Okay.
Well,
But yeah, I mean, you have to have people be able to stream it, and But I think that's the least of their worries, and it's still going to be focused on that one person. Like you can't have now look there. Where's the other guy? Where's the other? Look around and
I feel like I'm just backseat gaming at that point.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. Let's see. Was there anything else that we? Any other questions that needed to be asked, or that you guys wanted to ask before we take off? We've answered pretty much everything. Typical raw backseating. Yikes, dude.
Oh, I hate
just shy.
Hate them.
I don't know. I feel it's pretty comprehensive.
Yeah, it's not live. Yeah, it is not live. When are you going to start monetizing the Discord so that there's money tournament prize pools? The Discord is 8 days old. Let's chill.
We definitely don't have to worry about monetizing it. We've got help from lots of people.
Yeah.
Don't worry about money. We're definitely so tournaments, that's something I didn't really talk about. But yeah, we definitely plan to host tournaments. We have a lot of potential prize pool stuff. Some of it very official, super cool. Don't worry about it.
I thought there was an option for no delay with spectator. No.
No.
There
10
is.
seconds is
You can
I think that is the option. There's
you
the
can
option. It doesn't work.
increase it.
Gotcha.
I will never marry you.
Wow. Okay. So then if we're good to go, then we can just end here. Is there anything that you guys would like to plug? Like your or obviously the Discord we've plugged, but like YouTube channels, Twitch channels, anything you guys want to plug?
No.
Well, I'll be streaming.
Danny can
I'll
plug
be streaming a
stream.
couple. Yeah. So obviously the Discord. I try sometimes to stream the coach games that I play. I've streamed like 2. The last one I played, I had a lot of like stuttering issues and I got very tilted, so it wasn't a great experience. I'll probably kind of hold back on upgrading like my CPU and stuff before I do it that much more, because I really do like to hit my 155 FPS or whatever. But that's the only other thing I can think of.
Okay.
Don't do it. Freeze.
Don't do it. Freeze.
Don't do
I
it.
won't.
Don't.
I won't.
I hate Jeebus.
No worries.
All right, Jeebus. You've tried and failed, unfortunately. Okay. But yeah, I the links to everybody's Twitch channels and Freeze's YouTube channel is in chat right now. If you're not already subscribed to Freeze's channel, I don't know what you're doing. Probably should go do that. Yeah, but follow everybody else too. Like Raw will stream occasionally. The scrims, so like Danny said, he will occasionally as well. I stream them, so these are good resources for you guys to have a good view of what the game should look like. And you can, even if you can't be a part of a coaching session, you can still get that information by watching them play. And
As a
listen.
quick aside, we are currently sitting at 2,000 members exactly.
Ooh, Pog.
So that's super cool. That was 8 days, 8 or 9 actually. 8 or 9, 2,000. Pretty crazy.
Nice.
And still no although like I've spoken with the sorry, I'm not suggesting that he said no, but like we still haven't yet advertised on like the stuff that's gonna bring in huge amounts, like our For Honor Discord and our For Honor Reddit. That's redundant. That would increase the number even more. So that's super duper amazing.
Nice.